Appreciate you tuning in my channel. I'm back. I'm DJ from the uniform. Didn't behind the seat part and bolted. Once this fuse is located here, this activates all this. A lot of screws in this man's car. Gotta think these batteries need one a piece. Add one more just in case, but run a bolt and then cram all these into. I did use some 3/8 self tappers to snap them, but on these ring terminals here, and if you wiggle it, I didn't want to actually. Amazon is my thing. You can get a set of more gauge. You can actually get the whole. My biggest concern here, and that is going to accommodate the fuel pump to the outer skirts underneath the fuel pump housing. This is actually the factory carpet kit. I wanted y'all to see exactly what I did, and some more aerodynamic. You get less of a drag. All right, everybody, I greatly appreciate you tuning in my channel. I'm back. I'm BJ from the 478, and sorry about some of the delays. Income tax season really puts the strain on me. I'm usually getting these cars in and out as soon as possible. That way customers aren't waiting on me as long, but sometimes it does take me a little bit longer to do bigger projects, and I'm actually trying to get in here and finish this one up today, but I want to go ahead and show you exactly what was done. Everything was taken out. I got to fix the remote start, and then this car will be released once I put the box in. So I don't know if you remember, but you can backtrack on some of the other videos that I did create. All these were just laid up in here, bolted up on the back. So I made an ant rack, got everything uniform. Didn't drill any holes into the subframe of the car. All the brackets and the braces are located behind the seat part and bolted into the ant rack, so the ant rack is pushed all the way back, but no bolts are actually drilled through the car. That way you're not looking under there seeing a lag bolt or anything like that, or a self tapping screw long enough to go through that. We don't want to see any drywalls or anything like that underneath. So over here I do have the battery bank. I use 2 energy power cell batteries that he had in here. Made a battery box that fits over, slides over enough over in this corner. Made my own fuse box, and actually my own ground station. So these batteries are actually strapped together. This one's coming in. This right here bolts to both batteries. So once this fuse is located here, this activates all this over here, and then they go back into the amperes. Now I did go ahead and run, and that way I didn't have to run a whole lot of screws in this man's car, because underneath it is immaculate. Inside, underneath this carpet, it hasn't been molested, so I didn't want to put a whole bunch of screws just everywhere. So what I did was run all the grounds back into the battery bank. And so anytime you're running, you know, as many grounds in, you got to think these batteries need one a piece, and then also you have 2 leads going out. So I got 3 leads coming in. You see what I mean? From the actual chassis. I'm thinking about adding one more just in case, but I'm pretty sure those 3 to the chassis will be fine. More grounds the merrier. You can never go wrong with a ground. But I'll actually show you exactly where I have it grounded to as well, because these are actually grounded to the frame. So let's take a peek at that. So let me get these bolts here. So what I decided to do was, usually you can reach under here and run a bolt, but it's some kind of rod in here, structure part, where I didn't want to run a bolt and then cram all these into one of them. So each one has its own ground point to the actual frame of the vehicle. Now I did use some 3/8 self tappers. These are actually pretty good. Usually sometimes I either get them to strip or I actually snap them, but you get what you pay for these days. A case of 50 ran me about $13, and just better safe than sorry, they are actually good screws. So, but you want to make sure you clean this, absolutely clean it, and then run a washer to actually fill up the hole. Now on these ring terminals here, if you take them, I don't know if you ever seen the shiny surface of the ring terminals, but you still want to take your die grinder and grind it down a little bit, and that way you get a contact of like a lock washer. So anytime you're using the lugs, I would take some sandpaper or your wire brush and just scrape up that way it's getting a good contact, because this stuff is shiny. Sometimes it tends to slide, and if you wiggle it, it can loosen this nut. So if you scuff it up a little bit, gives it a contact point, and it digs into it, gives it a little more bite, kind of sort of like bondoing, you'll be good to go. So all copper lugs, even down to the 4-gauge wires here, I didn't want to actually use anything else. And let me show you exactly which ones I'm using. So these lugs right here, you can get, Amazon is my thing. You can get a set of 20 of these for like 15 bucks, versus you going in the parts store paying, $6-7 just for 2 or 3 or 4 pack for 10. Then they come with their own heat shrink. You can get them in 4-gauge. You can actually get the holes smaller. This is a universal hole. A lot of times I like getting them to an 1/8, real small, and then I drill them out as needed. One other thing too I want to run over to you about, now all these amps and everything are locked in place, so all the tuning, if I need to get to it, I can pull this box forward and get in here, or I can remove the back seat and stick my hand in there and adjust it from there. But hopefully I got everything pre-adjusted to where I don't have to get back there and do any more of that. But my biggest concern was making this box fit in here as snug as possible. This car is lowered in the rear, so we might get a little bit of bounce or some rattle or some shake, and I wanted to make sure this box doesn't slide around. But anybody has one of these cars know that gas tank is underneath right in this section here, and that is going to accommodate the fuel pump housing, to where all your hoses and everything run into the top of the gas tank. You drop it down. But lo and behold, right in here in this whole section is the gas tank. Now, when I bolted this down with lag bolts, I got it closer to the outer skirts underneath the subframe, and then ran bolts through, and then ran a nut on the bottom. So that box, we know it's not going anywhere. But in order to achieve this and get this box to sit on top of this fuel pump housing, this is what I do. I'll make up some stuff. I had a car, I had to pull the carpet kit out, and I just cut this around that fuel pump housing. This is actually the factory carpet kit piece right here. So I cut it out of that kit and throw the rest of the carpet away. But once I got it in to keep its form, I stapled it in here. Then I just routed this out and refiberglassed it, and got it to lock into the box. So guess what? This box actually slides in. And I didn't paint the bottom of this box because it's going to be sliding around. I didn't want that paint to actually scuff up and get the bottom of the carpet, black. So I left it raw. Waste of material. You're not going to see it anyways. But long story short, and you're not going to see that, I could have spray painted that, but I really wanted y'all to see exactly what I did. And sometimes you have to think outside the box. You know what I'm saying? Everything is just what you make of it, people. Sometimes a lot of people just don't think, how to do something. So, and it's more aerodynamic. You get less of a drag with a square. Just, a lot of times I used to do squares, but if I can ever find these carpet kits, a lot of times I do. If not, I'm gonna show you how you can make it. Just put some aluminum foil over the top of this, bam, spray it with some glue, bam, run you some carpet across the top, and just start glassing away. Once you glass it, it'll make a mold. Then once you pull it up, attach it inside the box wherever you want to put it at, staple it down, glass it some more, and man, you got a structure that will actually just slide in there, hug the fuel pump housing, and that box doesn't have to be bolted into the car because it's not gonna slide. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and button the rest of this stuff up. I'm gonna go ahead and put this these woofers and test fit them in this box. I'm gonna fix that radio because it's leaning. I'm gonna pull all that stuff out, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I got all the grounds completed. Everything's buttoned up. All the fuses are in. The distribution block, new grounds, chassis grounds. I actually got it planned. Everything is buttoned back in. Everything in here looks factory. I wanted to keep it, you know, as clean as it was when it came in, but actually just fix a couple of issues. I got that radio to sit because I had that gangster lean going on in there. But yeah, I didn't want to cut the doors and put big tweeters in there, but I did cut and I ran depth bounce in the front doors because someone decided they wanted to just bolt up a 6.5 and not cut the door out. And these cars right here come with 4x6s within a plate in the doors, in these Chevy Caprices or the SSs or whatever, any of the Bubba Caprices, they have 4x6s in the front doors. So if you want to put a 6.5, maybe you can fit an 8, but it's a window regulator back there and the motor that sits back, and I didn't want to cut too far back in the middle, so I decided to run a depth bounce Arnold series 6.5 and a nice little tweeter, because I put a tweeter up in the top pillar of the door. Reason being, I didn't want to cut anything big. I just wanted a mild, but like these little bitty 1-inch tweeters, man, they give you a nice little, you know, they're in there, let's put it like that. They give you a nice mellow little tick, and they last forever for the price, you know what I'm saying? So I use functionality for me, and they don't look bad, you know. If you don't like them, we can always change them. We can put some 1-inch tweeters in there, but I got no room behind here where the mirror sits, and like I said, I'd rather have to change this one little piece because I put a hole in it than the whole door panel because I put a big hole in it. So all right, let's check out the alternator under the hood. If you can relate back to my first videos when this car came in, we had no ground here, which is a must. That's the reason why they put this bolt here with that copper lug with no wire. But McMahon gives you that copper lug, but what I do in all my vehicles, I use copper lugs. I don't use the little 10 ring terminals, reason being those conduct better, and they look better, you know. So so we got the fuse holder here. See those right there? One of those is upgrading the ground from the battery as well, because on these cars right here, this ground right here goes from the factory, it goes down here to the block somewhere. Well, long story short, that's not going to support the draw that you're going to put on it with this big amp that I have in here, and also trying to top these back batteries off with the little small ground. And you see what they have here is, this is factory, you know what I'm saying? If you ever notice, a lot of people will burn these fuse holders up because the ground doesn't support it. See, grounds are more important, people, than anything. You can have crap wire, you know what I'm saying, and have the best grounds, and it will be functional for a little while. But long story short, I've got 2 grounds here, one for the alternator, one for the actual battery. So this will actually support the draw that's gonna be sent to that back battery. I'm not running lithium, so I didn't have to run an isolator, but sometimes it's still good to run an isolator as well. That maybe in the long run we'll do that. But everything is uniform, everything is nice and neat. All my wires are usually cut to length. So this ground wire right here is the same length as this ground wire right here, and it's just, they're folded up. But if you take them loose, they're both the same length. I'm that guy, you know. So let's take a look and see what we got going on in the trunk. Now this box right here I built, it is tuned to 34 hertz. Reason being, the sensitivity is not bad on these woofers. I want to say they're like 86 on the sensitivity chart. But they play good from 32 to all the way up to 37. I wouldn't want to get down to tuning a box to 30 hertz or 28, because when you get that low in the spectrum, you start going backwards, and when you go backwards, you'll start playing and they'll flutter, kind of sort of like home theater. They'll give you a low bass, but at louder peak, you'll probably end up popping. So this is tuned to 34 hertz. That way I can get back up into 41s and all the way to 48s, depending on how I adjust my crossover on my amplifier. And I am running the Salt 4K, and it's up behind here. I got this box at the bottom. I showed in the beginning of the video where it is fiberglass under the bottom, and then that way it sits on top of the fuel pump, because the gas tank is under here, and now this thing won't go anywhere because it's molded to the trunk. All right, so in order to feed that monster that we got back there, that Salt 4K, I built the custom fuse panel, and also these are all the grounds, and these are chassis grounds, and then this one right here is a connector ground to just give it a little bit more stability. Like I said, I'm a junkie for grounds, and you will be surprised on how much better your voltage, how much better your lights are a little bit brighter. You'll get less dimming, you'll get less drag. It wants to start up better because of grounds. So I'm gonna dig on into that, and I'll show you exactly where I got them underneath. So let's just get under here. All right. So as you can see, each one, I didn't want to take them and jam them all up, put them in the same spot. Everybody has their own section here, you know. I don't like wires to be bunched all up and everywhere. But this one right here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is an actual junction bolt I put in here, because I ran this one because let's say I want to add a little more to that one, or add another ground to that somewhere in here. I can just put a ring terminal on here and put a nut back on top with a lock washer, and you got a whole nother ground section. So try to kill two birds with one stone. But long story short, this job right here turned out a whole lot better than I thought, because once I added the depth mounts in here, it gave me a whole different imaging and sound stage in this vehicle, especially the way I sealed it off. Went back in, cut everything, made my brackets, pushed them out a little bit so the windows will go up and down, and I was able to get these massive 6.5s in this door, and they sound utterly amazing. Now I am monetized, so I don't want to get into the copyright logistics of this whole thing, and if I didn't have to go in and do so much to unplug the RCAs and the mids and highs, I would play bass. But take my word for me, people, this thing will actually kick those Impala cymbals off the side of this car. And it does have some dynamite in here to just slow the bass waves down, so you're not getting this whole lot of trunk flex and trunk rattle. It's got a nice clean bass for a nice clean car. So let's just remember, let's put it like this. If you haven't learned anything, or you're just starting out, if you just keep this rule of mind, do these vehicles like you want your own, and always make good grounds and good connections, because that's going to keep you from having a customer coming back. I want to see them when a customer come back and see me. I want to do upgrades. I don't want to have to go in there and fix your stuff. I want to get it done the first time, get it right the first time, and then you come back and upgrade. Let's add some more stuff. Let's do that. But yeah, I don't want you to have to come back down here because you're having issues. I want you to come back to show more support to the business. And this business, we're down here at OCD Audio LLC. I greatly appreciate you tuning in. There will be more videos. Income tax season is gone. Everything is trying to slow up a little bit, but I'm still busy. But I'm able to get bigger jobs done to where I didn't have time to really get in here and do certain things. Reason being, I'm gonna do it one way, I'm gonna do it right, and sometimes it takes me a little bit longer than the other guys if I'm working on it constantly. Now if I'm working on it constantly, I'll go ahead and get them done. I got a lot of bigger projects I got going on, especially with this red vehicle over here. I want to say this is 74. I got new console, new box, and all that good stuff. I got a Catalina over here in the shop that I got the box going in, and I'm doing the console in and all that good stuff. So we got a lot of stuff going on in here, but it will get done in a timely fashion. I greatly appreciate you tuning into my channel. I'm BJ from the 478. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in. All right.